Well, I've got my cases all prepped. That was in the last video. Now I gotta get those cases primed. And today I'm using Federal primer. Get it all turned over right. Okay. Start getting these things primed now. I bought this Hornady reloading manual in 1973, so it's 50 years old this year. And at the same time, I bought this Ruger No. 1, and it's the one I said gave to Gary and got it back on a long-term loan basis. So I'm going to start working up some loads for it, or reloading a little bit for it. In this reload manual, I look up the 30-06. And when you look back at this old manual, you realize, and you look at the new manual, my goodness, all the new cartridges that are in some of the newer manuals today weren't even thought of back then. But anyway, on this particular, when I go back and look at the notes that I'd made on that 30-06, I'd used pretty much 4350. All the loads I've got here use IMR 4350 except for one. One load I had a 180 grain load that in a spear bullet, spear round nose, matter of fact, of 4320. And according to this manual, 4350 is one of the more efficient powders. So if you go back and look at all the various bullet weights, you go to see what's the more efficient. 4350. All the way down to, even down to from 180 up, but 168. 4350, 4350 down to 165. And once you get below, which is normal, once I get below 150 grains, the 4350 is not, that doesn't give you the maximum velocity like some of the faster burning powders do. So from 150 down to 130, 110, and 100 grains, 4350 is not a good powder. Matter of fact, 130 grain is the lowest. The lightest bullet weight 4350 is even mentioned in. So I'm going to start with the 180 grain. 180 grain loads. Let's see. Notes here says that I had decided on IMR 4350 52 grains. That was for the Remington Spartan, the Bicol rifle. And for the, I don't even have a 180 grain load listed for this 30-06. I had 150 grain. I'm gonna check my bullet supply and see what I've got here, see if what I've got in the way of 150, 165s. So I look over and I've got a few 165s. These are Sierra Spitzer boat tails, 165 grain. Now I'm going to start out with these simply because I've got more of these than I have anything else. Then I'm also going to compare the load data from this old book to some of the newer ones. So in 4350 powder, it lists in the old book 55.7 grains. And let's see what a newer Hornady has. And 165, 4350, it lists 57 grains. In the old book listed 55.7. Boy, that's unusual. Usually in the later books they really cut it down. So they list all the way up to 57 grains even, and this is 55.7. Alright, let's check Nosler. See what Nosler might happen to have. If anything. IMR 4350 has 57 grains being the maximum load, and according to Nosler, they found that 4350 to be the most accurate powder. And that 57 grains being the most accurate. So I'm going to start with the 4350 and probably IMR 4350, 57 grains. Start out with the 4350 powder, and I'm going to get up in that 55, 56, 57 grain range and take it out and start the process of developing a load and getting this thing zeroed. Like I said, on this particular rifle, when I've centered the erector tube in the outer tube and mounted using a Ruger system, and I bore sighted it, man, it looked good. It looked good. And it was raining nasty and everything. Nasty day yesterday. And I couldn't wait to try something, so I put a Federal 150 grain load in it Shot it at about 150 yards over here on the hill at a rock. Decent sized rock. I hit the rock, so evidently the sights are not that far off. But anyway, I'm going to load up a few and get out and get started. Now I'm going to use a powder measure to get roughly what I need. I've got this measure set where it should throw just a little bit light of charge. So I just use the powder measure to dump enough powder in my tray to get me close. Because what I'm looking for, I want an exact load. So I'm going to use my, these can be the most aggravating things that ever was. Anyway, I use my trickler to bring the load up to exactly the weight that I'm looking for. Get my bullet seating die in here. Now, I'm using these Sierra boat tail spire point. And I'm going to seat it for this rifle, this Ruger number 1. I'm going to seat it out. Well, to this point here, I want the bullet to be stuck out as close to my lands and grooves as I can get them. But I want this back to my shoulder, where my shoulder starts. I can get a full caliber seating. It's seated back a full caliber. And I don't have to take it all the way back to that shoulder. If I got the very base of the bullet, here is back to that point right there. So that's going to be my seating depth to try out, to start out with. I'm going to get 3 of these loaded up. And go start putting a little of these on paper. Start testing the loads for accuracy and getting them zero. I got me 3 loads here. 3 of them loaded up. Now let's go to the range. Now I'm gonna, like I said, I put the scope on here. I put the scope on here with erector tube centered in the main tube. And when I bore sighted it inside the house, it looked pretty close. Then I put 1 factory round in it, shot it out the back door of the rock over here on the hillside. Rock's about the size of a deer body, about 150 yards away, and it drilled it. But I'm going to put me up a target, a paper target. Paper's the only thing that really shows you what you really got. So I'm going to put up a paper target here at first at 25 yards. Now I'm going to get my zero close enough at 25 yards, then I'll move it on out to to 100. But right now I gotta go set me up a target at 25. So I got a target set up at 25 yards. Take a shot at this thing and see where I'm at. Get this sling off here first. Okay. So let's take the first shot here at 25 yards. See how far off we are. Okay. One fella said, was it just an optical illusion or what? It seemed like I was shooting uphill all the time. Well, I really am, because I live here in the mountains. There's no, you can't find a perfectly horizontal place anywhere. So I am constantly shooting up or downhill, but never at a steep enough angle to make any difference, practical difference whatsoever. In other words, if I'm shooting up here at 100 yards and you took the angles and you actually figured all that out, instead of being at 100 yards, it might be 100 yards and 2 inches. Those few inches are not going to make any difference at all. So, but right now, that target is so close that I'm going to try to shoot downhill. So I got to elevate the rear of my rest here in order to get down close enough on that target, and even that's not enough. Okay. Let's drop this as low as it's going to go. Elevate rear. Okay, close enough. Well, that's first shot of record on this rifle that I've shot in, I don't know, close to 50 years. It is low. So, but it's a straight line. It's low. So let's raise her up here. Yeah, I'm going to take it up about half a turn. Fire one more. No, I'm gonna raise it up even more than that. It's not gonna be enough. almost perfect. Almost perfect. Down just a little bit. Now, I'm going to go move my target to 100 yards. So I've got my target set up out there at 100 yards now. We're going to fire a few rounds, see where she's at out there. You know, one good thing about, well, a lot of good things. One of the good things about living where I do, I can reload these in the house. Walk 40, 50 yards, come out here to a nice shooting bench, test a few of them. If they look good, go back and load up a few more. If they don't look good, that's it. But when I used to have to drive miles and miles to get out to the range, whatever you wanted to test, you'd have to have at least 10 or 12, you know, at least 10 loaded up. Then you go out and you fire your first 2 or 3 and find out that's not an accurate load at all. Either you shoot them up, plink them up, shoot them up, or you go back home, pull the bullets and all that. But right here, I don't have to do that. I'll fire the first 3. If they look good, then I'll come up a few more. If they don't look good, I'll go back to the house and change. So anyway, I've moved back to 100 yards, and now I can get my little bench here all set up again. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Let me get my spotting scope set up. Daggum wind's about to blow my paper off my backing up there. I need to fire at least one shot here right quick. We'll first retape that. See where it's at. You can't chase one bullet. You fire at least 2. Take a look. Pretty close. Pretty close elevation wise. Well, it's a pretty good place to start. So I need to move to the right just a little bit. So, back to the right just a bit. Let's see what this is. The wind is letting my target along there for the time being. Come on, wind. That last one was almost the perfect 3-inch height, 100 yard zero, but that's just one shot. Don't tell you beans. Check that one. I gotta go tape it and put the tape back on it and take a good close look at that. That looks good right now. Okay. let's do a little more. Fire another one or two. Yep, the barrel's cooled down. So. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. That last went wild for some reason. Didn't chamber right either. It's just, see if this will bring it back. Well, get up there. Well, actually, that looks pretty good. So, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to anyway. I'm going to go up that load just a little bit. I mean, it's looking pretty good right there, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to go up my load just a bit. See if it makes any difference, which way it makes a difference. So what I've been shooting, there's been 56 grains of 4350 and that 165 grain Sierra Bullet. I've upped it to 57 grains, which is what Hornady Buck said was their most accurate. So we're going to check that and see what it actually does in this rifle. So let's give it a look. Take a look in the spotting scope. Take a look again. Oh my. The accuracy of the first tube, fantastic. So let's see where this, stay in there, boy. Stay right there. Take a look. I gotta walk up there and look at the target. Now, I changed my load, went up to 57.5 grains, and I changed my scope sighting a little bit. Yeah, see what a smart move that may or may not have been. And I cleaned the barrel, by the way, so. See where it went? Ooh. That went really up, but that could have been, who knows, clean barrel, change in the load, who knows. I'll take another shot or two to determine that. Let's see. Yeah. One more. Well, I think the accuracy is going to be fine, but I'm still a little bit high. I need to go down. Need to measure it. See how far I need to go down. I went in the house and I also pulled the fore end off this thing, and it looked like may have been a little bit of interference with the barrel, primarily from stuff, just but gunk just building up on the bottom of the, or between the barrel and the fore end, particularly out at the very end. But it looked like a little bit of polishing where the barrel was hitting just a little bit. But anyway, I filed that off, or sanded that down, resealed it, and I was getting pretty good accuracy, but I was getting that occasional flyer. Now, that could have been load, it could have been any number of things. But anyway, I did that, and we're going to fire a few more, and I made a sight adjustment. where that went. Too low. But let's see. Too low, but we'll see. It's shooting a little bit to the right, so I'm going to go back left a little bit. See where this gentleman goes now. Check it. Well, it went left. It's pretty close. Well, I've got to load up a few more because one shot don't tell you anything. All right. I've loaded up a few more. That last shot, which like I say, you can't tell Biddle from one shot, but that last shot, that was right where I want him. So let's see if there's any chance that it won't stay there. Let's just see. Take a look. Oh, stay there, boys and girls. Just stay right there. That would be great. Let's just take a peek here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful zero. Go up there and get my target. I might say that when I take this target board out and set it up, I turn it every which direction. I turn it and shoot for the top. And I'm always aiming at the center. I can turn it 4 different times and not even have to change target, just flip it over. But the last ones, I mean, these are using different sight settings. Then the last setting that I made, adjustment, I shot this one, fired this one right here. Then I went back to the house and loaded 3 more. And there, 1, 2, 3. That group is 7/8 of an inch. That's 7/8 inch group with a 165 grain Sierra 30-06 bullet with 57.7 or 57.5 grains of IMR 4350. Now, right now, that's a perfect 3-inch high zero. So that's about as close to a perfect 3-inch high zero at 100 yards that I can get right now. And it's very accurate. It's a 3/4 inch group out of a 4-shot group. But I will, over a period of time, particularly between now and next deer season, and that's several months from now. That's about 9 or 10 months from now. But of course, I might take it hog hunting or something between now and then. But right now, that 165 grain Sierra looks like it's going to be my reach out there and touch them load. But now I've got to work up I'm going to work up a 180 grain load, probably with the iron sights on it, and work up a 180 grain load for that Bicol or Remington Spartan, whatever you want to call it. Mine's called Remington Spartan. But it's an MP94 or IZ94. Anyway, it's a 3-inch 12 gauge over a 30-06. So I'm gonna go work on a few loads for that thing. But right now, this 30-06 Ruger #1 light sporter. I think I've got it really where I'm going to leave the zero. And this little light gun off the bench will let you know that you pulled a trigger. I'm feeling a little bit of soreness in that shoulder right now, but I fired, I don't know, 20 some rounds, I guess. But anyway, right now I'm going to leave it where it is for the time being, and I will check the zero from time to time between now and the time I take it hunting. But right now, I think it's zeroed plenty beautifully. I really do. But if you'll just stay there, and I believe it will. So, but I will verify that sometime in the future. Now it's about time to start working on that Bicol. Might even let that shoulder rest a little bit. Anyway, talk soon. So I just finished a session out at the shooting bench with this little Ruger #1 light sporter, old Gary. I just finished a session with it, and where I left it, it was shooting 3 inches high, 100 yards, in a 3/4 inch group with virtually no vertical dispersion, a tiny little bit of windage dispersion. And that very well could be the wind, because I mean, it was stiff wind. Got that flag standing straight out from the pole. It was whipping pretty good back and forth. So very easy. That little bit of horizontal dispersion could have easily been the wind. But anyway, I'm just using a 5-power scope. And I'm telling you, That's all scope you need. I mean, I'm shooting a 5-power scope at 100 yards and shooting a 3/4 inch group in probably less than that if it's been a calm day. Because that wind sure does play havoc with your bullets. And like I said, there's a pretty stiff wind out there. So at any rate, it's a light sporter, 1.5 to 5 Leupold scope on it, set to 5 power to zero it in and to test loads. You can't get much better than that. Don't overgun and don't overscope yourself. That's my advice. In case you're asking, which I highly doubt that you were, but just in case you were, that's my advice. We'll talk soon.